All right, traders, what is up? Another one from the Dark Side family here, and as promised on our Telegram, try to give you guys a little insight onto how I back test and what I find to be the most effective and efficient way to back test and be able to duplicate these into actual market conditions. So first and foremost, for the people who aren't really familiar with what the term back testing even is, I noticed a couple people said that, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I consider back testing, I tried to come up with a little definition for you guys. It's basically like it's a simulation of real market conditions that allows you to test and adjust your trading strategy while help training your eyes to recognize patterns and repetitive movements. So when you think about that in itself, that's such a powerful thing because not many, industries or even in sports, there's not many things you can do that can allow you to test something as accurately as you can with back testing. The answers to all of your questions are to the left. All you have to do is look left because at the end of the day, the market is very similar in its movements as far as patterns and the way price is delivered. It happens over and over, whether you like to admit it or not. It's the same thing happening over and over again. Price is determined by two things. It's the price, the numbers here on the right, and then it's the time, which is the dates at the bottom. So those are the two things that you need to focus on, the time and where price is and when they intersect. That's it. It's just two dimensional. So the key to backtesting successfully is to make it as real as possible. That's my first tip to you. And for those of you who are familiar with TradingView, you should know this, but if not, right up here is the bar replay section. And this will bring up this little piece right here where you're allowed to, speed it up or slow it down and go back as far as you'd like. So we're looking at UCAD right now. So we can go back to, let's just say we wanted to start right here. Okay, so that's just the way to move the chart, and then you would hit play and it would progress. I'm not sure if this is available on the free TradingView. I have TradingView Pro. It's definitely something, if you're serious about trading, you need to invest in that, whether it be with TradingView or whoever else you use, but you need these things. This is very important stuff. You have to be able to back test. But like I was saying, if I can give you some tips, it would be to make it as real as possible. So one way to do that is to go and grab your vertical lines. Okay, you can get them in the menus from here and mark out your days of the week. Do Monday. And these are just examples. Let's just say this is Monday. This is, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on and so forth. Mark out your days of the week because realistically they do play a role, whether that be in your own personal psychology and your view of the market. Maybe you don't trade Mondays. Maybe you don't trade Fridays. Maybe, whatever works for you. But the thing is, if you're not considering that and you just happen to go back to a random point in time, like right here, and then just start backtesting, you might be backtesting market open on Monday, which is something that you don't do in your rules anyway. So why even try to duplicate it? It makes absolutely no sense. So that would be my first tip, is to definitely mark out the days of the week, mark out the days that you prefer to trade. And if you trade Monday, Wednesdays, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe because of your schedule, then only backtest Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because you're going to help limit, you're going to help save yourself time basically and not wasting time on conditions that you're not going to be exposed to anyway. Because if you don't trade Thursday, Friday, then what are you looking at it for? There's no point. And another tip for you guys that I think is really important, mark out your sessions. If you trade London, for example, and let's just say this is London price action. Again, this is a daily, so this is obviously not accurate. But if you trade London, then go back and just mark out, let's say this is London, this is London, this is London. Let's just say, again, these are just example guys. But if you trade London, back your charts up and trade London session, back test them. Come over here, back your chart up, take your tool like we spoke about, come back over here and test right here. Start testing right here. Back test the London session. See how price is delivered. See what makes sense. If you can only trade London open, then go down to the 5-minute, maybe the 15-minute, go to the low time frames and trade London open when you backtest. Don't just backtest everything in between. Backtest this. Maybe you'll do 3 a day. Backtest one London here, one London here, and one London here. Go over your results on all of them, compare and contrast them, and see where it gets you. This is just going to make you a lot more efficient on your backtesting, and it's going to make it a lot more productive for you as well. Another thing that I suggest, a lot of times when I've seen, and this might not be you, but again, if you're watching a video on backtesting, you're here for tips from me. So if this doesn't relate to you, then don't worry about it. But something that I see a lot of people do when they back test again is they go to a random period in time. They go like this and they just back it up and they just go, all right, I'm gonna start right here, which I think is another waste of time because let's say you happen to do that right here. Look at what you would be back testing. Just look, you would be back testing this mess here. Like you're not. I mean, I don't know about you guys or your trading style, but I don't think anybody would look at this situation, this kind of consolidation thing here that's going on. Who is going to go in there and look for opportunities? I mean, I don't personally. If I went to my charts and I opened it up and I saw this was it, it's not really my ideal scenario. So why not put yourself in a scenario that you like? And I'm sure you like catching big moves. I mean, if you see our Telegram, you see that's what we do. We call them rockets. That's what I like to backtest. So if I'm going to look at the chart from here and say, okay, I want to learn how to get into some rockets. I want to backtest, and that's what I like. I'm going to go, okay, let's find some. Say, okay, here's one. Here's a huge push. How could I get inside this big push? And then I'm going to backtest, and I'm probably going to start down in here and see what led up to this move, what led up to this push, this rocket, and I'm going to try to identify everything that I can and how I could have got in, and then I'm going to document that to the best of my ability with every little clue that I see fit that works for me. So it doesn't have to be anybody else's understanding of the market. It's what do you notice? What is this to you? What was this buildup considered? Do you have a term that you like to call it? Was this the buildup to the blast off? Was it like, what is it? And make it work for you because that's what you're looking for, big moves. So I would probably look for that. Then I would look to how to get into this sell-off. This is the daily time frame, so these are big moves. I would definitely backtest how to get into this short right here. That with that big push, I would want to see this short right here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to say, okay, what day of the week was this? What time of the day was this? Was this London open when this melted? Was this New York open when it melted? Did this happen during Asia? What led to this? What buildup? What did they trigger? What was the opponent thinking? What was, the less informed thinking? Were they long right now? Were they short? What led to these pushes? Because that's what I'm interested in. I'm probably not going to go and backtest this right here because it doesn't really interest me. It would be counterproductive in my opinion, and that's when backtesting gets bored. Instead, I'm going to go here. I'm going to test this move out. I'm going to test this move out. I'm going to go try to get myself into this buy. I'm going to try to get myself into this buy. I'm going to try to get myself into this buy, into this sell, and then maybe call it a day and compare and contrast all the results and the similarities of all the moves that I just pointed out. Because that's what I like. I like to trade the big pushes, the rockets. So you can see, guys, it doesn't really matter what your trading style is as far as how you backtest. If you're a trend line trader, again, I support everybody's trading style. If you're making money and it works for you, keep doing it. So if you're a trend line trader, and this is a poor example. Let me see if I can find something here. Okay, here we go. Here we would have a trend line. Okay, and you like to trade trend lines. Again, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you've developed your own style, back tested it, and you can feel confident when you approach the market with it. Keep doing it. But don't waste your time back testing scenarios that you're not familiar with. Don't look over here. Look at trend lines. Look at the first tap, okay? And then maybe take a look at the second tap of your trend line and see how you could have gotten involved. Maybe see what was presented, what time of day, what day of the week, any similarities that you can create amongst, let's say, 10 trend line trades. Look into this area where the trend line gets tapped. See what time of day it was. See what session it was. See what the opponents were thinking. Why were people selling if they was really going to go long? How could I got into this position? How could I have, not got into the position? You want to find out everything you can. So if you go and if you look at these 3 taps right here, or 3 or 4 taps, and you go and do this to 10 more pairs or 10 more times, and then you build yourself a little journal on everything that happened, you're going to start to notice the similarities in the market. You're going to start to notice, man, every time price makes that second touch of my trend line, it happens at this time or at this day, or usually they put people on this side of the market. So they see descending order flow into my trend line, and that's that's what's going to trigger for me. You're going to start to notice these things, and the only way to notice these things is by back testing and through repetition. I mean, you absolutely have to put in the work. And in trading, we have such a beautiful advantage, to where we can actually back test and look at previous market conditions and learn to anticipate them. If you're a fib trader, let's see, 61.8, we could just look and find them. Look right here. This is probably, let me see. If you're a fib trader, All right, and you draw your fib out. There you go. Look, it's so easy to spot. 61.8. Look at why 61.8 worked on this time. Go build a case of 10 different 61.8 rejections that would have played out in your favor, and go build a case, build a journal, make 10, 15 trades on them, and write down all the similarities. You can say, okay, before 61 point, okay, I had equal highs before price struck into it. Maybe that'll be one of your new rules, that every time you have equal highs, then you'll anticipate 61.8 moving. And why do you think that? Because you just backtested 50 times 61.8 rejections, and you see that all 50 times when they played out, you had equal highs first. You understand what I'm getting at, guys? That's how you build your confidence in your strategy. So if you're a fib trader, there's nothing wrong with that, but build yourself a set of rules based on your understanding of fibs. And how do you do that? By backtesting, not by asking a guru or asking me for advice. Don't ask. Do it. All your information is to your left. Everything, all the answers to all your questions in the market, guys, is to your left. All you got to do is go back and look. You don't need to listen to us. You don't need to listen to anybody. Go back and do your own work, and you'll see it for yourself. And it's just such a powerful thing. I mean, look, another example. If you want to understand news, some people trade the news. Again, it's not necessarily my style, but if you want to understand news and you want to learn how to anticipate maybe a retail sales report or something, go back on your calendar and mark out the days. Let's say that this was maybe this was retail sales day right here. Maybe this was an interest rate decision right here. Let's say this was I don't know, GDP announcement right here. Go back and identify them and look at the buildup that led to the move, the announcement normally, like what led up to that interest rate decision. Like if this was an interest rate decision right here on the US dollar, what led up to that? Go look into the details of the report or something. Try to find yourself an edge to where you could take advantage of the news. And you'll do that by, again, building up maybe 10, 15 retail sales reports or 10, 15 interest rate decisions on the US dollar, and then compare them and see where the similarities are and the differences and how you could take advantage. So there's all different ways. Like we have NFP coming up because we're in a new month, new money. We have NFP coming up. You want to know how to trade NFP a lot better? Don't ask anybody. Go back and look at the last 10 NFP reports and see what you can find similar in them. See what you can do to give yourself that slight edge and take advantage of it. It's if back testing to you is not fun and entertaining, then there's a problem there, because it's either your strategy is just not working, and it's it wouldn't be fun. It's like if you don't know how to swim, somebody throwing you in a pool and telling you, okay, practice swimming. It's going to be terrible. You're going to be drowning. It's going to be miserable. So if your strategy doesn't work, it's going to be the same thing. If you're not solid, you don't have a set of rules. When you backtest, you're just going to lose all the time. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get negative. So it doesn't work. So you might have to look at your strategy and maybe reconsider the way you trade. And if your other issue with backtesting is that it seems like homework or it's boring or something, or like that's, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be too successful in trading, because you have to fall in love with the process. If your whole opinion on trading is to just get rich and get money, the greed is going to overwhelm you. You have to fall in love with the process. Like if you're asking yourself how many hours a day should I backtest, to me that's a red flag. That's a bad thing, because I know for a fact that anybody who's good at what they do doesn't ask that question. Like Cristiano Ronaldo, you guys are soccer football watchers. Cristiano Ronaldo never asked his father or his coaches, hey, how many penalty shots should I take a day, or how often should I go outside and juggle the ball? How often, like LeBron James, a basketball player in the U.S., he never asked his coach, hey, how long should I take shots? How long should I play basketball? These guys, this is all they did. They loved it. That was their passion. They fell in love with the process. So the result is their greatness that we all see. But it all started way before anything that we see. And it's the same for trading. If you want to trade order blocks or imbalances, go identify them on the chart and put in the work. Fall in love with the process. Just like the other great athletes and anybody great in their field, they fall in love with the process. And then the result is you're going to become an outstanding trader, because you're going to be so familiar with all these things that nothing's going to come as a surprise to you. You've prepared for this your whole life, and here you are, So, those guys, they would need a basketball goal or a soccer goal, whatever it might be. But you don't need anything. You can do it on your cell phone. You can do it on your PC. You can do it so easily. You don't need anything. All you have is excuses if you're not backtesting. So, fall in love with it, guys. And if you're not, there's a problem with the trading. It's probably your strategy, or it's probably you have the wrong outlook on the market. But I can guarantee you one thing: if you don't fall in love with the process of back testing and doing it properly, you're not going to have the same results in the market. It's going to be bad. If back testing is bad, real market conditions are going to be 1,000 times worse, and they're going to be a lot more expensive because it's going to cost you money. So again, back testing, it's the key. I hope you guys took some things away from these tips that I tried to give you. I'm just trying to help you out. If you're good at back testing and you have some great advice, then leave a comment down here. Help your fellow traders out. But like I said, try to really focus on what works for you. What days of the week can you identify that you like to back test? If you're a fib trader, go test 61.8s or whatever level you like. If you're a trendline trader, go test them. If you're a smart money trader, then go find 15 scenarios where order blocks work and try to write down the similarities on when they work. And then what's also important is to mark down when they didn't work and try to understand that as well, because you guys all know that's half the battle. You either win or you lose, and try not to overcomplicate it. I mean, again, price is, all about the date, time and the price. So it's two dimensional, two things. Don't overcomplicate it. Go find the scenarios that you're familiar with. For me, I like the rocket candles. I would test this. I would test this sell. I would test this sell. I would test this buy. I would test definitely this buy, but I'm not going to waste my time testing this right here because I'm not into that. So do what works for you and apply it to the charts. Build yourself a journal and then share it with your buddies. If you trade with a community or a team, you guys should all have fun with it. Everybody go back to, let's just say everybody go back to USD CAD of July 2018. All right, let's see who's the first one to make 20%. And then share your results with your buddies. This way you guys could all get better. So, I mean, listen, once we've showed our guys the way we trade, our Discord is full of the guys uploading their back testing and their results. And it's all because they're having fun with it. They're enjoying it. Nobody's looking at it as homework because that's not what it is. If anything, it's the prerequisite to being great. That's what it takes. And they're so in love with the process that they can't help but study these things and send them in. And all that does is build their experience, build their chart time. The more you build experience and chart time, that's the one thing nobody can take away from you, because there's no shortcut to experience. Spend some time in front of these charts, guys. Document your results and watch how everything just evolves. Watch how your trading improves. It doesn't matter your style, okay? Just focus on what you do know and try to make that work for you, okay? And again, guys, as you know, we have our Telegram channel. We post our trades. We post our tips and advice. That's why I put a poll for this one. I figured maybe this could be helpful for you guys. If you have any other suggestions on some content that might be able to help you, leave it in our comments. Check us out, and I'll be sure to try to get to it as soon as I can. And I really hope you guys found this helpful and took some stuff away from this. And wish you all the best. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.